Let's talk to Professor David Bailey at Birmingham University's Business School. Always great to have you on Global Business, David. Now, look, China's become a global force in EV manufacturing and exports. How are companies like BYD transforming Europe's small EV market?
It's completely turned the industry upside down and the market. So what BYD and other Chinese players have done is been able to really get costs down. So as the IEA report said today, they have a cost advantage of something like 30%. So they're really efficient. They build at scale. It isn't just about costs. Also, the technology is often brilliant, particularly in terms of batteries. So they've been at this for a long time. They have huge experience. And the European makers in particular are playing catch up. So whereas before Europe was leading and China was lagging, now it's completely flipped around.
So why is Europe idling in the slow lane? And have they left it too late to match China's pace?
Well, they were way too slow to go electric. For a long time, European companies placed their bets really on diesel engines in an attempt to get emissions down. Then, of course, we had the whole Volkswagen cheating scandal, and that kind of blew that away. They've been since then trying to play catch up on electric vehicles. But part of the problem is that governments have kind of waxed and waned in terms of their support for electric vehicles, taking subsidies away, then putting them back again. But also demand, whilst it's been rising in Europe, it's not been as quickly as anticipated. So some European firms have cut back on the investment. That's entirely the wrong things to do, because in China, firms are still plugging away on it. So Europe really needs to speed up and try and close the gap.
Yeah, but you talk about the market in China there. I'm wondering where you think that's going, because it faces challenges too. Price wars, for example. I mean, what's your outlook?
That's absolutely right. So wafer-thin margins, in some cases firms unable to sell all the cars they make, they pre-register them and then sell them at a discount. Also, there are way too many companies. You've got dozens of electric vehicle makers. They all won't survive. This is going to collapse down to maybe 10 or 12 firms. Firms like BYD, maybe Geely, some of the others, which will emerge as very powerful players and which will compete globally. So the industry in China, whilst very successful, is going through a period of fundamental kind of turmoil and change. We don't fully know which firms are going to survive that.
What about the US market with Trump's tariffs skewed in its favour? Companies like Tesla face different kinds of challenges, don't they?
That's right. There was a company also which is trying to scale up in order to get costs down, which has been very successful at disrupting things. But other American firms have been much slower on the EV take-up, and they've largely tended to focus on pickups, smaller trucks where they can make huge margins. Now, what Trump has done is try to insulate the American market from Chinese electric vehicles with tariffs of 100% and also tariffs on European companies as well. But ultimately, that is going to push up costs in America. It is going to reduce competition. And if anything, I think it's going to put the American industry behind the curve as against the transition.
David Bailey, always a treat talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.